We like to comfort ourselves with a lie. We tell our children that we all breathe the same air, walk the same earth, and sleep under the same sky. But that is a statistical illusion. The man counting coins to pay for his rent and the titan moving global markets with a single text message do not live on the same planet. They occupy two parallel realities layered on top of each other, completely invisible to one another. At the bottom, reality is heavy. It is dictated by gravity, schedules, and fear. You sell your life in microscopic increments just to buy another month of survival. But at the apex, the rules of physics warp. Money stops being paper and becomes an architecture. It becomes a force that bends time, space, and human behavior. To a billionaire, your entire life, your job, your city, your daily routine is just a tiny variable inside a system they own. Most people spend their entire existence running on a treadmill, wondering why the horizon never gets any closer. They think they just need to run faster. They are wrong. It is not a matter of speed. It is a matter of identity. Over the next 15 minutes, we are going to tear down the veil. We will take you through the brutal, cold transformation from the man who is owned by the system to the man who owns reality itself. Welcome to the ultimate divide. Choose your side. Level 0 is not just about having an empty bank account. It is a specific operating system for your brain. It is the realm of linear time. In this world, you are trapped in a primitive economic equation. 1 hour of life equals X amount of dollars. The moment you stop selling your hours, the incoming flow of resources drops to absolute zero. You are a biological engine that must be fueled daily just to keep turning the gears of someone else's machine. The system is not broken. It is working perfectly. Modern employment is calculated with terrifying precision. You are paid just enough to survive until next Monday, but never enough to buy back your freedom. Your savings are an illusion, a microscopic buffer that a single medical emergency or an unexpected bill can wipe out in seconds. You are fighting a war against a mathematical architecture designed to keep your head barely above water. This constant state of low-level panic is the leash. It forces you to say yes to bosses you despise, to accept conditions that degrade you, and to sacrifice your highest potential for temporary security. At level 0, you don't own your time. You rent your existence. If you stop running, you don't just fall behind. The system actively crushes you under the weight of your liabilities. But the real tragedy, most people think the only escape is to work harder within the same loop. They are walking straight into a secondary, far more deceptive trap. Look closely at your life. The endless alarm clocks, the artificial lights, the silent compliance in rooms filled with people who, just like you, are slowly trading their souls for survival. It's a sensory claustrophobia. Your brain knows it's in a cage. Every single day, you swallow your anger, you suppress your ambition, and you tell yourself just a little longer, but the walls are moving in. The debt climbs, inflation eats your effort, and the years slip through your fingers like sand. You aren't just stuck, you are being biologically and financially suffocated by design. And then the panic hits. The terrifying realization that if you keep doing exactly what you are doing right now, 5 years from today, you will be in the exact same place, only older, only more tired. The illusion of safety breaks. You realize that hard work within a broken system is just slow motion suicide. But pain is a precision tool. True transformation never starts with inspiration. It starts with pure, unadulterated disgust. when the suffocating weight of your present becomes heavier than the fear of the unknown, something shifts. Your survival instinct stops forcing you to hide and starts forcing you to hunt. You don't want to fix the system anymore. You want to destroy it. You are ready to make the first violent leap out of the dark. You are ready to build. Welcome to level 300,000. This is the promised land. You made the leap, you took the risk, and it paid off. For the first time in your life, you breathe clean air. The suffocating anxiety of the level 0 employee is gone. Now you are the boss. You have a registered company, a sleek logo, and a steady stream of revenue hitting your account. When you look in the mirror, you see an entrepreneur. You are finally running your own show, buying the things you used to look at through a window, and making decisions that actually matter. At $300,000 a year, you are outperforming 95% of the population. You have built a beautiful machine. You are the king of your own micro-empire. You control the operations, you choose the clients, and you dictate the culture. The money is good, the status is intoxicating, and the initial struggle feels like a distant memory. You have escaped the rat race, and the world applauds you for it. It feels like absolute freedom, but if you look closely past the prestige, the math starts to look strange. You wanted freedom, but if you look at your calendar, you haven't taken a day off in 8 months. You wanted control, but every single client query, every technical glitch, and every payroll emergency still lands directly on your desk. You aren't standing on top of your business. You are buried underneath it. The machine is running, yes, but only because you're constantly burning your own sanity to fuel it. Slowly, a quiet, disturbing realization begins to take root. You didn't destroy the cage, you just built a larger, more luxurious one with your own hands. You are no longer an employee of a corporation, but you have become something worse. The most stressed, most heavily leveraged, and most underpaid employee of yourself. Because at level 300,000, if you dare to step away for a single week, the entire empire crumbles into dust. You are trapped again, and this time you are the warden. From the outside, it looks like a masterpiece. Your friends think you've made it. Your family is proud. You can pay your bills without looking at your bank account. Yes, but that is where the luxury ends. Inside the perimeter of level 300k, the atmosphere is thin, volatile, and exhausting. You have traded the predictable 9 to 5 of the employee for a lawless 24/7 survival match. You aren't building a legacy, you are just firefighting every single day. The price of this counterfeit freedom is your entire life. Your nights are sleepless, haunted by cash flow projections, employee drama, and the terrifying knowledge that you are the single point of failure. If you burn out, if you get sick, if you close your eyes for a single minute, the gears grind to a halt. The business has completely cannibalized your private life. Your relationships are strained, your health is a currency you spend daily, and your time is no longer your own. You didn't buy freedom with your success. You bought a maximum security cell. And here is where the real frustration begins. You are stuck. You try to work harder. You put in 16 hours instead of 14. You drink more caffeine, hire another intern, buy another software, but the numbers don't move. You have hit the glass ceiling. You suddenly realize that the exact same raw talent, grit, and personal effort that took you from 0 to 300,000 is mathematically incapable of taking you to 1 million. To scale, you need to let go of the wheel. But you are too terrified to trust anyone else with your machine. You are trapped by your own competence. This is the psychological breaking point of the self-employed, the agonizing awareness that you have built a prison so comfortable that you cannot leave, yet so small that you cannot grow. You are moving at maximum speed, burning your soul to the ground, only to stay in the exact same place. You have reached the absolute limit of human execution. To break through this glass, you don't need more effort. You need a total cold-blooded psychological execution. You need to kill the craftsman and become the ruler. To cross the abyss between a successful small business and a $1 million asset, you have to commit a psychological murder. You must kill your ego. You must kill your emotional attachment to the work. The exact moment you break through the glass ceiling is not a moment of joy. It is a moment of cold, calculating detachment. You stop viewing your business as your baby, and you start viewing it for what it truly is, a collection of protocols, leverage, and human capital. But this transition is violent. It feels like walking across a decaying rope bridge suspended over a canyon. To scale, you must deliberately let go of the wheel. You must hire people who are smarter than you, delegate your core tasks, and watch them make mistakes using your money. Every instinct in your brain will scream at you to grab the controls, to go back to safety, to go back to doing it yourself. It is a state of absolute strategic instability. If you hesitate, the bridge snaps. If you look down, you freeze. Your only choice is to march forward with a level of coldness that looks like cynicism from the outside. At level 0, you work for survival. At level 300,000, you work for money. But at level 1 million, you work exclusively for control. Not control over your employees, but control over the system. You stop trading your time and you stop trading your talent. Instead, you build a fortress of logic where other people's time and other people's talent create your reality. The transformation is complete. You are no longer a craftsman who makes money. You are an architect who orchestrates systems. When you reach this state of detachment, the chaos dies. Your sleepless nights are over, replaced by a deep, almost frightening silence. The money is no longer a reward for your labor. It is just a scoreboard confirming that your system works. You have crossed the bridge. You have stepped into the realm of the true 1%, but do not celebrate yet, because once you learn how to build systems instead of jobs, you open the door to a level of scale that will challenge your very definition of what it means to be human. Once you cross the $1 million threshold, the internal noise dies. Your life undergoes an aesthetic and cognitive purification. At level 0, you were a target for every distraction. At level 300,000, you were a slave to every notification. But at level 1 million, your environment changes. Your calendar is no longer a battleground of urgent tasks. It becomes a sanctuary. The metric of your success is no longer how much you do, but how much you choose not to do. True wealth at this stage is measured by the sheer volume of empty space in your day. Your mental architecture has evolved. You no longer view yourself as a worker or even as a CEO. You are the owner of an asset. When a crisis occurs in your business, your first instinct is no longer to roll up your sleeves and fix it. That is a low-level reflex. Instead, your mind coldly asks, what protocol is missing? What system failed? Who is the manager responsible for this variable? You view your company through a pane of thick glass. This detachment is not arrogance, it is survival. If you touch the operational gears, you slow the machine down. And this introduces the ultimate paradigm shift, the luxury of no. At the bottom of the ladder, you say yes to everything: bad clients, poor margins, toxic partnerships out of scarcity and fear. At 300,000, you say yes out of momentum and habit. But at 1 million, no becomes your default setting. You reject 99% of opportunities, meetings, and interactions, not because they are bad, but because your time is now protected by a multi-million-dollar moat. You realize that your value is no longer in your labor, but in the absolute clarity of your judgment. And judgment requires isolation. This is where your old life ends and your normal reality begins to distort. You can no longer relate to the complaints of employees or the micro panics of small business owners. Their world feels chaotic, emotional, and small. You have mastered the game of capital and systems. You have bought your absolute freedom. But as you stand in the quiet comfort of your fortress, looking up at the next massive shadow on the horizon, you realize that this fortress is just a stepping stone. Because the jump from 1 million to 100 million or to 500 million doesn't just require you to protect your time, it requires you to alter the fabric of global markets. Forget everything you know about capitalism. At level 500 million to 1 billion, money as a medium of exchange ceases to exist. It is no longer liquid assets, luxury assets, or scoreboards. At this altitude, money is transformed into raw, concentrated sovereignty. You are no longer competing within a market. You are constructing the market itself. A billionaire does not look at a balance sheet to see how much they made this month. They look at the global landscape to see how much of human reality they can reshape over the next 50 years. At level 1 million, you own the system. At level 1 billion, you orchestrate entire ecosystems. The decisions made during a private dinner in Zurich or a quiet text message to a prime minister don't just shift stock prices, they alter infrastructure, dictate labor laws, and steer the direction of human evolution. If a billionaire decides to invest in automated logistics, 10,000 traditional jobs disappear across an entire continent by next quarter. They do not manage businesses, they manage the variables of human society. They are the invisible architects of your daily routine. This is the realm of pure, unadulterated certainty. At this level, the psychological transformation that started with cold detachment becomes absolute detachment from humanity. There is no panic, no adrenaline, no urgency. There is only strategy on a civilizational scale. When you can buy anything, price loses all meaning. When your actions dictate the reality of millions, ordinary human problems look like microscopic static. It is an intoxicating, godlike insulation from the common world. You have achieved what every human soul secretly craves: complete, unchecked dominance over space, time, and circumstance. You look down from the mountain and you see the entire world running on the grid you helped design. You have won the game of games. You have achieved the ultimate dream of wealth and security. But as the echo of the applause dies down and you find yourself standing in the clinical silent vacuum of the absolute peak, you are hit by a cold wind, a wind that whispers the final terrifying truth of the ascent, because everything in this universe has a price. And at $1 billion, the currency you pay with is no longer money. The human brain was evolved to live in tribes. It was designed for touch, shared struggle, and reciprocal vulnerability. But as you climb towards the $1 billion mark, the altitude burns away your humanity. You have achieved total sovereignty, yes, but sovereignty means you answer to no one. And when you answer to no one, you are entirely alone. At this level, you don't have friends anymore. You have allies, you have subordinates, you have liabilities, and you have targets. Every smile directed at you has a financial motive. Every handshake is a transaction. You have successfully engineered a reality where trust cannot exist. You lose the luxury of normalcy. You can no longer walk down a public street without a security detail assessing every passerby as a potential threat. You can no longer share a casual conversation because your words move markets and invite lawsuits. You are trapped inside a hyper-secure, climate-controlled, multi-million-dollar bubble. The common joys of humanity, the spontaneous, the messy, the unpredictable moments of life are completely locked out of your fortress. You have become a ghost haunting a world you own, but can no longer touch. And this is the internal breaking point. The massive weight of your empire creates a cognitive gravity that warps your mind. When you manage tens of thousands of lives and billions in capital, your empathy must be systematically deactivated just to make daily decisions. You stop feeling. You become an algorithm. You spent your youth fighting to escape the survival anxiety of level 0, only to realize that at the very top, the anxiety doesn't disappear, it just scales with you. You don't sleep because of a late bill anymore. You don't sleep because the stability of an entire market segment rests on your shoulders. This is the brutal trade-off of the absolute peak. To own the world, you must allow the world to hollow you out. You must exchange your human heart for a processing unit of pure steel. Every single step up this ladder was a sacrifice, not of your time, but of your identity. You didn't just build an empire, you built a monument to your own isolation. And as you look into the mirror of your empty penthouse, the final question of this journey cracks the glass open. Was the price of becoming a god worth losing the man you used to be? We have stripped away the noise. We have torn down the architecture of the financial elite, from the heavy chains of level 0 to the cold, isolated sky of the billionaire. This journey was never about the money. Money is just a mirror that amplifies exactly who you are and what you are willing to sacrifice. Every level on this ladder has a distinct smell, a distinct pain, and a distinct operating system for your brain. At level 0, you pay with your time, driven by the fear of survival. At level 1 million, you pay with your sanity, driven by the obsession for control. At level 1 billion, you pay with your humanity, driven by the hunger for absolute sovereignty. There is no free tier in this game. The universe is a perfect accountant. It never gives you a fraction of power without extracting an equal portion of your soul. The question is not how to scale. The question is, what is your currency? This channel is called The Baseline because our mission is to make you see the fundamental truth of your architecture. I am not here to tell you to climb. I am not here to sell you the illusion that everyone should be a titan. Some men are meant to find peace in the quiet safety of the base. Some are meant to rule the middle ground, and a few select monsters are built to survive the suffocating vacuum of the apex. Look into your own reflection right now. Strip away the social media filters, the fake ambitions, and the borrowed dreams. Are you truly ready to kill the person you are today to become the architect of tomorrow? Are you certain your nervous system can sustain the weight of the level you claim to want because the ladder is waiting, the steps are bloody, and once you cross the bridge of detachment, there is no turning back? Define your baseline, choose your price, or the system will choose it for you.